My wife said she was working late, so I surprised her with divorce papers, Reddit cheating stories. I always believed trust was the foundation of marriage. Without it, everything else crumbles like a house built on sand. For years, I trusted my wife, Emily. I trusted her so much that even when little red flags appeared, I brushed them aside, convincing myself that the woman I loved could never betray me. But the night she told me she'd be working late, that was the night everything changed. I'll never forget the knot in my stomach that evening. She kissed me on the cheek before leaving, a soft, quick peck that lacked the warmth it once had. Don't wait up, she said. I'll be stuck at the office finishing a project. At first, I nodded, pretending it was normal, but deep inside I knew something wasn't right. It wasn't the first time lately she'd used work as an excuse. The late nights were piling up, the laughter at her phone was becoming too frequent, and her coldness toward me was growing harder to ignore. For weeks, I'd tried to push away the suspicion. But on that particular evening, something inside me snapped. Maybe it was the way her eyes flickered when she said, working late. Maybe it was the way she grabbed her phone and clutched it tightly as she left. Whatever it was, I decided I couldn't just sit at home and keep pretending. But instead of confronting her directly, I did something different. I prepared. I called a close friend of mine, James, who happened to be a lawyer. He had known me and Emily for years and was one of the few people I trusted with my suspicions. I told him, I think she's cheating. I don't have proof yet, but I can feel it. James sighed but didn't sound surprised. You want me to get the paperwork ready, just in case? He asked. My silence was answer enough. That night, instead of going to bed, I sat in my car parked a few blocks away from Emily's office. Hours passed. Around 11:30 p.m., I finally saw her car pulling out, not heading home, but turning in the opposite direction. My hands trembled on the steering wheel as I followed her discreetly, my heart pounding like a drum inside my chest. She eventually parked outside a small, upscale hotel. My chest tightened, and it felt like the air had been sucked out of my lungs. I watched as a man got out of another car and walked straight to her. She smiled, the kind of smile she hadn't given me in years, and they kissed. Right there in the parking lot, like they didn't care who saw. That image is seared into my memory forever. I didn't storm out. I didn't scream. I didn't fight. I just sat there, numb, while my world crumbled silently around me. And then, in that stillness, I made a decision. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to fight for someone who had already chosen someone else. I was going to take back control. The next day, I met with James. He had the divorce papers ready, and we went through every detail. Are you sure you want to do this? He asked. 100%, I replied, my voice steady though my heart was still shattered. Together, we hatched a plan, one that would leave no room for Emily to manipulate or twist the situation. That night, Emily came home around midnight again, wearing the same excuse on her lips. I pretended to be asleep, letting her slip into bed without a word. She thought she was safe. She thought I was blind. But I wasn't. A week later, I told her I wanted to surprise her at work with lunch. She looked nervous but agreed, probably thinking I wouldn't suspect a thing. Instead of lunch, I walked into her office with an envelope in hand. The receptionist looked surprised when I asked to see Emily, but she called her out. Emily walked toward me, smiling awkwardly, clearly embarrassed in front of her coworkers. Hey, honey, what are you doing here? She asked. I handed her the envelope. Since you've been working late so often, I said loudly enough for her coworkers to hear, I thought I'd bring you something to make it easier. Confused, she opened it, and froze. Inside were the divorce papers, neatly signed by me, waiting only for her signature. The color drained from her face. Her coworkers exchanged glances, whispers rippling through the office. She stammered, what is this? I looked her dead in the eye. This is what working late gets you. Without another word, I turned and walked out, leaving her standing there speechless. Later that night, she came home in tears, begging me to talk. She claimed it was a mistake, that she still loved me, that it meant nothing. But I wasn't buying it. I had seen the look in her eyes when she was with him, the kind of joy she hadn't shown me in years. You can't fake that. Emily, I said firmly, I gave you everything. My love, my trust, my loyalty. You threw it away. This isn't about one mistake, it's about choices. And you made yours. The divorce wasn't easy. She fought hard at first, tried to guilt me, tried to paint herself as the victim. But I stood my ground. James made sure I came out with everything I was entitled to, and I didn't look back. The hardest part wasn't losing her. The hardest part was realizing that the person I thought was my forever was actually a stranger. But in losing her, I found myself again. I rebuilt my life piece by piece, surrounding myself with people who truly cared about me. Months later, I ran into one of Emily's old coworkers at a coffee shop. She told me Emily had quit the job shortly after the divorce, unable to face the shame of what had happened. Apparently, things with her affair partner didn't last long either. Hearing that gave me closure, not because I wanted her to suffer, but because it proved something I already knew: cheaters never win. Looking back now, I don't see that night as the end of my life. I see it as the beginning of a new one. A life where I'm stronger, wiser, and free from betrayal. If there's one thing I learned, it's this: sometimes the most painful endings are the most powerful beginnings. And no matter how much it hurts in the moment, choosing self-respect over betrayal is never the wrong decision.